What's up guys, it's Dem Apples here, back again with another video, and today I'm going to show you how to get almost every single puzzle. Yes, every single one. I'm not joking when I say this. So, it's a 3-step process that I will show in this video. So, I'm going to be doing Puzzle Rush Survival here, and we're going to try to get to about 30. So, this 3-step process goes like this. Checks, captures, and threats. And it's even better if one happens to be the combination of two. In this case, we see that the king is in a precarious position because of the pawn shield, and this is a simple back rank mate. Here, checks, captures, threats. We don't have any checks for the king on the king, but we do have multiple captures. Let's evaluate this one and this one. This one is just stupid. So, if we take here, right, we lose our queen, so that can't be good. We can win some material, but it's not enough. And so that leaves us with the other capture, so let's just play it. And then, ooh, wow, we got it right. And now, ooh, free knight. We remove the defender. Checks, captures, threats. Where's the check? Oh, only one check. Alright, let's go. And checks, captures, threats, one check. Again, we see that the back rank mate pattern happens again. Another check with a capture, even better. Check. Oh my gosh. And make sure it's checks, captures, and threats in that order. Checks are the #1 priority when you're trying to solve a tactic. So as we can see here, like, we have multiple checks, but only a few are good. You have to weed out the bad ones. You have to do a bit of calculation, but here it's pretty obvious that this is a check and a capture, and it's the only good one. Again, here we have multiple checks and captures, but only one really deserves attention because all the others just lose a ton of material for absolutely no reason. So, Queen G7 mate. Checks, captures, threats. Again, we just have two, but one hangs a queen, and the other is simply just checkmate. Here we go, King E8, and we have, now here's a slightly tougher one where you have to do a little bit of calculation. We have two checks here that seem quite reasonable. One's Knight C7, and the other is Knight F6. Now, if we go Knight F6, Black will go King E7, and let's see our follow-up. We can probably move the knight back to, like, E4 or D5, but then Black will go back and just repeat the position. So, but after Knight C7 check, it becomes apparent that the king has no good squares, so that's just checkmate. King F8 here. And again, you have a choice between multiple checks. This one is stupid, but which one to put here? Well, if you check here, the king goes here, but if you check here, the king has nowhere to go, and thus checkmate. Bishop G4, attacking our queen. Now again, checks, captures, and threats. 1, 2, 3. Now, at first glance, this one looks good, except for the fact that it hangs a queen. This one looks good, but it also hangs a queen. So that leaves us with just this, and now it's a normal back rank mate pattern. Check, and then recapture with checkmate. Again, checks, captures, and threats, we only have one check in the position, that is Knight F6. You might think, oh, discovered attack on the queen, free queen. No, not so fast, Black takes here. But again, checks, captures, and threats. Why are we looking at captures first? We shouldn't be, because this move is just checkmate. Alright, Rook takes pawn. And we have two checks here or something like that. Well, 3. Check, check, and check. Can dismiss this one as it hangs a queen. We can dismiss this one as it hangs a rook. So, only one is here. And we would have Queen D1 checkmate later. So, Bishop C4. And it seems like White's king is in a little bit of a rut. It seems like if we check him once, he doesn't have anywhere to go. And the only check that maintains control of this file and doesn't hang a rook is Queen B6. We would have continued with, after Rook E3, Queen takes E3, checkmate. Rook C2, and here there is no check or capture that seems very relevant. Like, we actually cannot capture anything now that I'm looking at the position. We can't check the king either. So that leaves us to our third one. Remember, checks, captures, threats in that order. So what threats can we make? Well, we can threaten the rook, but first of all, that's a free bishop, and second of all, even if White didn't see it, he can just move the rook out. We can try to threaten the pawn, but that doesn't really do anything. And it's not very easy to make an attack on White's pieces. Therefore, we must look for an attack on the king, since all his pieces are really well defended. And so we notice that the king is weak. How do we make a threat on the king? Well, we can threaten checkmate in 1 by going bishop to f3, threatening rook h1 checkmate. And it doesn't seem like white has any good way to stop this. King h1, again, do I really need to say this? Like, checks, captures, and threats. But here we need to calculate a bit, because all the checks here give away material. It could even be a threat, like here, threatening checkmate in 1, I don't know. Let's start by evaluating queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn, pawn takes queen, rook takes pawn, check. King can go to 2 spots. And after if king g1, seems like our only choice is rook g3, but after king f2, white is fine. And if you see one line, even only one line, where white is fine, don't play it. Like, because that means there's at least one refutation to your plan. So, although white can go king g2, or king g1, or whatever, and go to different spots with this king, that's irrelevant, because we've already determined that the sacrifice is unsound. Let's look at the other check. Rook takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, check. King g1 is forced, and then we have checkmate in 1 move. Queen h2, protected by the bishop, is checkmate. So takes, check, and then checkmate. Nice. And I don't know how this one got up so high, but it's just a simple back ranker. Checks, captures, threats. I mean, we can look at these 2 checks, but they don't really do anything, if you think about it. I mean, this is just a free horse, and this is also a free horse. So, check. He blocks with the bishop, but again, we gotta keep looking for checks. This one just gives away a free knight for nothing. Like, we can continue with something, but he can just move the king up. It's important that we have the g-pawn here, so the king can't go there. So, other check is knight here, and now we take this bishop with checkmate. Alright, we have a couple choices here. Rook takes knight, and queen f7. Let's take a look. If rook takes, logical would be queen takes here, and I would assume black would go king to d8 or something like that. Seems like the choices are king to d8, king f7, and king e7. Let's take a look. Rook b8 takes queen c6. King e8, bishop g5 looks very logical. Bishop e7, take, queen c7, check, king f6, queen here, king e7, or something like that. Oh wait, no. Black just goes back, queen f5, blocking the check, and black has 2 rooks, which are both protected, by the way, since the bishop moved, and a rook for a bishop. Now, why am I going over all this stuff? Well, it's important to calculate all lines if you're just going for PR in your Puzzle Rush Survival, but if you're doing a 3-minute one, obviously, don't go through all this calculation, just rely on your intuition. The other check is queen f7, and after king d8, it's pretty simple. Queen to c7 check, only one that doesn't hang a queen, like all these squares do. Queen f7 check, king d8, queen c7 check, king to e8, and then queen to c8 with back rank mate, essentially. Both files are controlled. So, oh, well, that was short, alright. This one is pretty simple. Checks, captures, threats. We have check here and check here. This one gives away a queen, so, well, of course we have these, but those also give away queens. Only one that doesn't is checkmate. Wow! b4 is checkmate. d4 is a check, but after takes. Black is perfectly fine, so let's go for b4. Knight takes rook. Again, do I really have to explain this? Checks. I mean, let's take a look here. Oh, wow, there are 2 checks, or like multiple, I don't know. Check here, here, and here. But this one gives away a queen. This one also gives away a queen for nothing. This one also gives away a queen. So the last one remaining is queen takes pawn here. Check. Mate. Rook d8 check, and you're like, oh my gosh, black has 2 queens. We gotta move our king. We're so scared. Ah! Right? But no, this rook is hanging with check. And that's really important that it's check. And checkmate, actually. So, queen takes whatever that was. I didn't really see. And now we gotta do some calculation. This is a slightly trickier one. Checks, captures, threats, right? The queen check here just hangs a queen in 2 different ways. Doesn't lead to anything. We can dismiss that. The other one is a rook check. If rook check and black doesn't notice the hanging rook, so rook check, king h8. Wow, we have checkmate in one move. How amazing. And say he blocks with the rook, we can probably continue with rook, takes, queen to g6, check, or something like this. And if king to f8, then we have queen f7. If king h8, we have probably queen h6, king g8, or something like that. But it's important to calculate it to the end. Probably queen g6 is more accurate here. Because if king f8, we have checkmate right here. And on queen g6, king h8, we have back rank mate. We forced this rook f8, and after rook takes f8, we have checkmate. So we have to calculate rook takes rook. Well, let's see. Queen g6 check, king h8, queen takes pawn. Not checkmate yet, even though all the squares are covered, because black can block with their rook on h7. Fortunately for us, there is a free rook on f8 hanging with it looks to be checkmate. So let's play that. Here, and checkmate. Let's go. Bishop c3, attacking the queen. The queens now see each other. Again, checks captures threats, but this is a check and a capture, so it should be looked at first, but it gives away a queen for a rook in two different ways. Probably not the best idea. The other one is here, but after g3, white looks to be perfectly fine. Queen f2, rook g2. And so that leaves us with the last one, which just so happens to be checkmate. Yay. Alright, checks captures threats. Check here gives away a free piece, and check here gives away a free piece. Check here leads us to being forked, which is not good either. So, what could it be? Well, let's look at captures next, right? Once you're done with one, look at the other. Our captures are here and here, and as we said, this was one we dismissed because it hangs a knight. Let's take a look at this, though. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes bishop, knight takes pawn, yay, we win a pawn, yay, we're so good. But not only do we win a pawn, after the king moves wherever he wants to go, I don't know, we win a free rook, that seems pretty good. So, let's go for it. Nice. Alright, king to h3. Now, there aren't really any checks, captures, or threats. You have to rely a bit on endgame knowledge and calculation. Now, when there are so few pieces on the board, it helps just to calculate, right? There aren't that many moves to calculate. So, how many moves can we make that make sense? Well, this pawn can't move. This is out of the question. And obviously, we don't want to move our king to this side of the board because, well, the pawns are here, not here. There's nothing over there. So, our candidate moves should be king f1, king g1, and pawn to g4. Now, pawn g4 is just useless. It hangs a pawn in two ways and can't be good. After pawn g4, takes king g2, king f4. White has a winning king and pawn endgame. He'll move the king and push the pawn. So, that's dismissed. King f1, we'll take a look at next. White will probably go for king h2. After king f2, we'll go king h3. And we've just reached the same position. Now, even though the same position might be winning, it's not good to repeat it in puzzles because you want the fastest win. You're going to get it wrong. After king f1, king h2, king f2, white has a better move, king h1. That leaves the last one, king g1. Now let's calculate white's response. White has a couple of moves. King g4 is one, and g3 and g4 are the others. Those are the only legal moves. King g1, let's see king g4 first. Pawn, king takes pawn, king takes pawn, king takes pawn. We have the winning king and pawn endgame. Our king moves, we promote the pawn. King g1, pawn g3. This is not as easy. Now let's take a look. Can we just go back and win the pawn? Oh my gosh, double attack. So forced would be pawn takes pawn, but after pawn takes pawn, white can't really defend this pawn. So that's pretty nice. Say king g1 and pawn g4. En passant is not forced, by the way. So after king g1, pawn g4, we can go back and making a threat on this pawn that white cannot deal with. So let's go. And yeah, white cannot defend his pawn. And this is a very important pattern. It's called the trebuchet. Not sure why you would need to know that, but just in case, you know? Alright, checks, capture, threats. Only one check here. Let's take a look. Check, Rook takes queen. Oh no, we hung a queen, but there's another check. Every time there is a check, there is more calculation to be done. Rook check. Forces rook blocks. Bishop check. Forces king h8. Rook takes rook. Checkmate. Nice. The final one for 30 and the end of the video. Checks, captures, threats. We have 2 checks here. Well, 3, but this one doesn't count because it hangs a queen. And we don't have any stalemate here because we have lots of moves. So the other checks would be queen g5 check. Now, after queen to g5 check, black can go king h7, and then what's your follow-up? What's the next move? Well, it doesn't seem like we have any obvious moves, and if we don't have any obvious moves in this situation, we lose. Black is up a queen. Yeah, and those queens are ready to pounce on that pawn. So that leaves our only choice, queen h8, which just so happens to be checkmate. Alright, we've gotten 30 puzzles. We've shown you exactly the 3-step process, checks, captures, and threats. And try to use these in your next puzzle rush, or just in puzzles in general. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.